You're at a mountain cabin enjoying the spring night sky. Some peace and quiet to look at the universe. It's a pity the moon is so bright that many stars around it cannot be seen. Listen here, Kyle. Not all your problems are caused by this beautiful moon. And yes, I did come here for a different reason, but instead I'm going to show you that in fact 95% of stars that will ever exist are dead or dying. The universe is already in a slow decline. Yep, this is the worst possible time in history to look up and see the universe. Imagine being here 4.5 billion years ago when the Earth formed. So many beautiful blue stars, galaxies colliding, no light pollution. That's all gone now. Like you since high school, the universe's golden age of stars is already long past its peak. But to save you from a disappointing mountain retreat, I'm going to show you how this has come to pass, what you have missed, and what dark future waits for you on Earth and the stars in space. Now you're probably thinking, but the sky is full of stars. What do you mean they are all dying? I can see them right now. Let me explain this in 6 levels for you, okay? First level. Astronomers confirmed in 2013 that we are living in the last 5% of the universe's star-making life. Yeah, but how do we know this is true? Well, by using 3 massive telescopes to look back across 11 billion years of the universe's history, these very smart people measured the hydrogen coming from star-forming galaxies at 4, 7, 9, and 11 billion years ago. And what they found is the star formation rate has dropped by 97% since its peak. Today, the universe makes stars at about 3% of what it once did. The lead smart guy, Sobral, literally called it, "The universe has been suffering from a long, serious crisis." Which is also what my therapist said about me after the divorce for why I treated you so poorly for so long. Well, the other Kyle, that's now dead. I've only just begun doing adventures with you. The peak of stars forming is actually called the cosmic noon, and it happened about 10.3 billion years ago, when the universe was only 3.5 billion years old. At that moment, galaxies were forming stars 10 to 20 times faster than today. Some galaxies were pumping out 1,000 solar masses of new stars every single year. What does that mean? It means that a total combined mass of all stars formed in a year equaled 1,000 times the mass of our sun. This could be 10 massive stars or like 1,000 small stars, or a mix. Regardless, our Milky Way right now only makes up to 2 solar masses per year, 6 or 7 individual tiny stars, red and orange stars. Andromeda, less than 1 solar mass a year. She's basically straight up dying. Like how American Bear dies when I take too long to choose my favorite flavor of ice cream on our annual trip to Rome for gelato. So, every star you can see up here, almost every single one, either formed before Earth existed or before humans existed. What's that? Just why is this the worst possible time in history to be a space enjoyer, even if we can still see trillions of stars? I see. No, you don't understand, okay? In order to investigate the real reasons and what it means for the universe, we have to go to level 2, Kyle. Level 2, I tell you! What even is a star? And how does one get born? Because if you don't understand that, you won't understand why they're disappearing. You see all that hydrogen gas and dust floating around in space? Cold, dark, not doing much. Kind of like you every day of the week because you're a pasty, amorphous blob of a man. Well, gravity starts pulling it together when there is enough of this gas. Slowly at first, and then faster and faster. The grouped cloud eventually collapses inward on itself, and the central core heats up from the pressure. And after hundreds of thousands of years of this, the core hits about 10 million degrees. And at that temperature, nuclear fusion ignites. Hydrogen atoms start smashing together to make helium, releasing enormous amounts of energy. And that energy then pushes outward against gravity, which is still trying to crush everything inward. And if those two forces, gravity crushing in and fusion pushing out, perfectly balance each other, boom, you have a star. Of course, when this happens, for the failed stars that only have like 0.08 times the mass of the sun, we call those brown dwarfs. I call them Kyle. Nah, I'm kidding, relax. You sound like me before I got a girlfriend who loves Legos and 5-star hotels. The point is, a star's entire life, from birth to death, is decided in that moment of ignition. And specifically by one thing, its mass, the amount of gas that made it. It even determines the binary system of interactions when there are 2 stars orbiting each other. But that brings us directly to level 3, how the entire universe is defined by 4 main star types. Yes, we are in the period of stars for the universe, but that's not a good thing today. First up, and pay attention to these little guys because they're the most important thing in the discussion, red dwarfs. Why? Well, here's a fact that should genuinely disturb you. Not a single red dwarf that has ever formed has yet died by itself. Yes, they are less than half the mass of our sun, so small and cool that they burn hydrogen at an almost laughably slow rate, but as a result, they live for perhaps 1 to 10 trillion years, not billion, trillion. The universe is only 13.8 billion years old, and these things haven't even warmed up yet. Every red dwarf ever born since the beginning of the universe is still burning right now. Oh, and they make up about 73% of all stars in the Milky Way, the most common star in existence, and you have never even seen one with your naked eye. Not even the nearest star to our sun, Proxima Centauri. They are simply too dim. Unlike those who subscribe to Gravity Pool, who are really intelligent and not dim at all. And you know what to do to get even smarter. Anyway, how much does that suck? Exactly. What a terrible time to be alive on Earth, man. The only way to cope is to stare in the cosmos at what you can see and imagine. And here I am telling you that it's futile. Well, maybe not, because then you have stars like our sun, or even a little bit bigger, medium mass. These burned for about 10 billion years before swelling into red giants, shedding their outer layers and collapsing into a white dwarf, a dead Earth-sized lump slowly cooling in the dark forever. Our sun is currently about halfway through that journey. Almost. Then you have the blue giants, 8 to 100 times the mass of our sun, and because of that mass, they burn through their fuel catastrophically fast. A star 20 times our sun's mass lives perhaps 6 to 20 million years. 80 times the sun's mass, maybe 3 to 4 million years. Then they explode a supernova. They are violent and spectacular, and about 25 to 50 of these blueies are born and then die in the same 50 million years on Earth that the Stegosaurus existed. Think about that. I mean, O-types are only 0.00003% of all stars in the universe, but when they explode, they blast all that processed gas back out into space, creating new clouds, compressing gas again and then triggering the next generation of stars to form. They were the universe's recycling plant for stars. But during the cosmic noon, when we had the highest star formation rates in the history of the universe, these blue giants were everywhere. But now they are almost entirely gone. Their generation burned out billions of years ago. Of course, you can see many in clusters and within certain nebula, but those are but a small fraction of the power of the old days. And whenever galaxies merge, you see a flare up, but after that, it's back to never seeing them. The last type of stars, of course, are the hypergiants. You know, red giants, super red giants, the massive ones like VY Canis Majoris, the hypothetical and not conclusively proven Stephenson 218, and so on. The thing is, they used to be blue giants, but as fusion changed them, they lost all their mass and expanded, but only for maybe a million years, less, maybe a few million years, and after that, they go supernova or hypernova, and that's it. It's a temporary phase. And that is exactly why the lights are going out in the universe. Can't see, isn't really being born anymore, and is just gonna die soon. So imagine what it was like to live at a time that didn't suck, how it would have looked at the cosmic noon, Kyle. Let me show you level 4. Welcome to 10 billion years ago, or so. Every direction you look, galaxies are smashing into each other, and every single collision is compressing enormous clouds of cold gas, which collapse into thousands of new stars at once. Blue giants are everywhere, blazing through their fuel in a few million years, exploding a supernova, blasting that gas back out, which collapses again into even more stars. The whole universe is one giant self-sustaining star-making machine running at absolute full power, and it has been doing this for billions of years already. Isn't it beautiful? Some galaxies right now are forming 1,000 solar masses of new stars every single year. We call these starburst galaxies. Even the Milky Way here in the cosmic noon was making over 10 solar masses per year compared to the 1 to 2 now, and even that was considered low compared to the absolute monsters around it. But then slowly, star formation starts to wind down. Not suddenly, but just less. Every billion years, a little less gas, fewer explosions, a little less compression, and by the time our sun finally ignites 4.6 billion years ago, the cosmic noon was already 5 billion years in the past. By the time humans look up at the night sky for the first time, what they are seeing is not the universe at its best, it's what's left of it. Oh my god, is that a ripped goose waiting for us? Why is he chasing us? Quick, quick, climb the tree, Kyle! Holy shit! In my original universe, I accidentally killed mine because of his terror. I didn't think you had one too. Wow. I'll have to sit in this tree until he's gone. Which is great because I have to tell you the 3 things that actually killed all the stars, ended cosmic noon, and has made it so that the universe right now is slowly dying. Level 5. The first thing is simple. The gas is running out. Permanently. When stars die, most of that processed material gets locked inside their corpses forever. Yeah, some of that gas makes new stars, but not all of it. Meanwhile, white dwarfs just sit there cooling for billions of years in the form of degenerate electrons, neutron stars have degenerate neutrons, and black holes, yeah, that gas is gone. Even black holes that are actively hoarding gas in their accretion disks are just sitting on it doing absolutely nothing useful, and eventually it'll also be gone and useless. Just like me, because I was the one who actually invented those tiny little umbrellas for your drinks, but I just didn't act on it. Some asshole beat me to the patent office and now just gets rich on tiny umbrella passive income. Just creams my corn, I tell you. Anyway, the point is the Milky Way has already converted about 90% of its original gas into stars. 90%. There ain't much left. The second reason is dark energy. The universe is expanding and that expansion is accelerating. As space keeps stretching, the gas clouds that need to gravitationally collapse, to form stars, get pulled apart faster than gravity can bring them together. The universe is being stretched too thin to make new stars efficiently. And this gets worse and worse every single year without exception. The Hubble constant, that measures how fast the universe is actually expanding. But we only make like one star a year. And to make those stars, we need gas to compress, which means it has to be close together, but space-time is just expanding too much too fast for that to do anything unless we have more gas, but as I said, that gas isn't even available and it's all just so scary, Kyle. I'm scared, okay? The true end has begun. The stars are dying in this universe. There's a violent goose beneath us, and I just want... Oh wait, you're right, Kyle. The third reason. Well, remember those blue giants from level 3? The ones that died fast and blasted everything back out to make new stars? Well, they're pretty much mostly gone, as I mentioned. And remember what replaced them as the dominant star? Red dwarfs, who hold onto their gas for trillions of years and give back almost nothing. So the feedback loop that powered the cosmic noon is completely broken. So what does all this mean? And what does this actually look like right now, today, in our own galaxy? And what does it mean for the future of the entire
Universe Level 6?
See, we are currently living in what scientists call the stelliferous era of the universe, the age of stars. It started about 1 million years after the Big Bang with the first one, and it ends in roughly 100 trillion years when the last red dwarf finally exhausts its fuel and goes cold and dark forever. Which is weird because when each of the stars that are currently alive die, there'll only be maybe 5 to 10% of all possible stars that could exist left in the entire universe, and it's meant to last 100 trillion years? So what, for 99.99% of the stelliferous era we're only gonna have red dwarfs? That's like going to the movies and they don't have popcorn but only dried grapes. American Bear tried that once and just farted throughout the whole movie. So between now and the future, the sky will get darker every billion years. Literally, it is a slow, painful death. Even if we were born in 1 billion years' time, we would see even less than we do now. In fact, the universe's expansion and the death of all stars will cause future civilizations to think that the universe is completely empty and devoid of anything other than their own sun and tiny galaxy. This is definitely not the best time to study the universe and be alive, because we will never answer the questions we need to understand the universe completely. But we know which questions have to be asked. In the future, they won't even know or care because for them it'll just be dark and dim as galaxies are too far away and no new stars will be born. We were born too late to truly understand how the universe was born and how it evolved while witnessing the beautiful brightness of the young Milky Way. But the benefit is that everything is kinda stable now, and we do have time to study all of this cool stuff. You know what? I do want to see what it was like even before that. Alright, time to get down. I have to go find out just what exactly happened before the Big Bang.